Yes, it's 5 o'clock anyways. All right, testing. Let me make sure my thing is on. All right, guys. Good afternoon. Welcome aboard to the aftermarket recap. My name is Carlos Garcia, founder and CEO of G.A.R Capital. I should be getting the webcam for tomorrow for you guys because I'm back. I'm in the office. So if everyone's having a good afternoon, granted with all the craziness in the market, bottom right-hand corner of your screen, click on that, turn on notifications, subscribe to our channel, like our videos if you do like them. Appreciate it as always. Let's go and talk about it. Dow Jones fell down 1.38%. The nasdaq fell 2.57%. The S&P down 1.84%. The VIX up 7.67%. Equal weight S&P down 1.55%. Small caps took another hit as well, down 1.87% on the IWM. Dollar index gained 0.18%, 96.20. 10-year yields 1.977%. Gold gained today 0.45%. Silver gained 1.88% in terms of GLD and SLV. High yield credit actually didn't do too bad, was down 0.18%, 82.55. Investment grade credit down 0.91%. That's at 122.40. Crude oil did gain 0.36%. Gasoline futures gained 1% today. 288 a gallon. Gold futures 1910. Silver futures 2459. Ethereum was actually green on the futures side, 2610. Bitcoin only down about 1%, 37,555. A couple of things to note. I mean, hell of a day. So let's go over first in the market. You could see here red everywhere, not many places to hide other than energy and some consumer defensives like Altria and Philip Morris. But look at the other names that are in consumer defensives. PepsiCo was down 1%. Coca-Cola was down 1.11%. Procter & Gamble down 1.25%. Target down 3.29%. Costco down 1.38%. Walmart down 1%. Tesla's now below 800 at down 7%. Home Depot down 2.44%. Just pretty much ugly across the board. There's a couple of other names out there that did gain. AbbVie gained. Bristol Myers Squibb. Gilead, CVS. Again, kind of the healthcare did okay. Cadence Design Systems, I don't know exactly, they're a software company, but even the banks were down, even with higher rates. So what does this tell you? It's just a complete sell-off across the board. If we go to groups, the only thing that did well today was energy. And again, we're still long energy with XOP. That's the refiners and drillers. Consumer cyclicals were the big hit, down 3%. Technology down 2.5%. Industrials down 2%. Real estate down 1.8%. Just ugly across the board. Let's kind of move this back over here. And you can go ahead and take a look here. Let's go ahead and bring up S&P futures since that's the most important. We're still above. Okay, so I did some retracement levels, if you remember, from the peak to trough, 48.08 on the high, and the wick low from January 24th, which was 42.12. And we're basically holding it on for dear life. So you're probably thinking to yourself, Carlos, well, now what? What do we do? Well, the real thing is, in terms of an investor, you really shouldn't do much. I do have SPY-G to buy tomorrow. That's what I do every week. That's fine. I'm just holding on to that. That's what I do every week. I still been buying Bitcoin every week, Ethereum every week, and some of the alts every week as well, like Graph. And I believe the other one was, if I can find it, God, which one was it? Tezos I buy still. And there was one other one, Wrap Luna token. So again, pretty much ugly. You could see here, just kind of getting back to levels that we have not seen since really July of 2021. So all of this has been wiped. Now you're probably going to say to yourself, Carlos, is this the end of the world? No, not the end of the world, but ugly price action enough. So again, we're getting tightening financial conditions with the Fed, inflation being high, and then we also have the Russia headlines. So are the Russia headlines really the big issue here? No, I don't think that's the main cause of the decline, but it is accelerating it. So keep in mind that as more headlines come, I would not be trying to catch a bottom yet. So what does that mean? You're going to get some pops here and there. You're going to get some more drops here and there. But again, it's been a kind of a slow melt. The only things accelerating it is the Russian headlines, the Russian-Ukraine headlines. So how far can we go down is the question, Carlos. Well, we can get to right around 40.26, which will get us back to right here is right at May levels, May of 2021. And the extension to the downside would be 38.45, which would get us to March levels to the downside. So what did you want to say in terms of what can I do here? I think the best thing here is kind of sit on your hands. Does it feel to the point that you're helpless? Of course it does. My portfolio is as red as yours. Mine's not nowhere near any more special than yours. So when you have this kind of negative sentiment out there, you're not going to change that sentiment by buying the dip immediately. So you just kind of have to let this wash out. What I think will happen, again, kind of ridiculous to say what I think. At the end of the day, I thought 42.60 was the bottom. That was taken out. So that's fine. I'll live with that. But looking at it here forward, if you're looking as an investor moving forward, and I remember having this conversation in 2020, if you still have your 401k, you're getting your match, stick with that. If you are still investing every month in an index fund or any stock that you want, that's fine too. But would I run outside, take some cash, and buy the dip here? No, not as of yet. Now, why do I say that? Is because we really don't know what's going to happen moving forward. I didn't even play puts today. Why? Because we have GDP tomorrow. GDP at 8:30 in the morning. So it's too much unknown, too much uncertainty. When you're uncertain, hold on to cash. When you are certain, then you make a move. But right now, there is some uncertainty. What happened today? Remember I had those NVIDIA calls I talked about yesterday? They were green this morning. They were green 7% this morning. And then what happened? Right here, we fell. So I had to close those for a loss. How's this one? This one really hurts. QQQ. We had a nice bounce right above 338 right at noon. I was 37% on those calls. Literally right there, could have closed it. I didn't. That's on me. I should have closed at 37%, even 30%. I did not, and then we fell completely down, and it was an L. So very tough. I've only traded 3 stocks this week on signals. We got one of them correct, QQQ being one that was actually correct, but it didn't work out for us. So very frustrating all around. You know, all traders go through this ups and downs. We've all been through it. It's not easy to do what we do, but you got to be a prudent and you have to be very careful on what you do. It's almost to think that whatever you think might happen goes the opposite. I remember last night, futures were green this morning. And then what happens? They sell it off right in the beginning. We bounce again, and then they sell it off again. So is it a headline-based market? No, I just think it's more of a fear-based where headlines are kind of being mixed in. So again, I think the best bet is to just hold on, don't do anything, because any decisions you make may have long-term repercussions in terms of selling stock. Maybe selling stock that you don't want to sell doesn't really help you, because if you're selling some gainers, you're going to pay capital gains tax on it. Now, if you do sell some losers, that's fine. You'll get a tax washout in a sense, tax harvesting, but it's February. It's not exactly to the point where we're end of the year either. Does this mean that at the end of the year, Carlos, we're going to be red? No, it's February. Seasonally speaking, we should be bouncing right around mid-March. Right around the tail end of March, things tend to get better. That's what we had in 2020. So I'm expecting a little more weakness until at least the end of the month, until mid-March. And for that being said, again, we've broken that crucial level on Qs. We should go down a little more, maybe to right around 317. I'll be looking for some puts tomorrow if the GDP print isn't good enough. The problem with puts right now, if you're a trader, is that they're so darn expensive. They're very expensive because the IV, implied volatility, is high, and everyone is going to puts. So imagine being right now a crowded trade going all into one side. The supply and demand function, meaning the pricing, becomes out of whack. So it becomes very difficult to do. So I'm watching the S&P. We're still above 42.13, which is literally the wick low. Should we break it? It's difficult to say. We could bounce tomorrow. We could fall tomorrow. It's really just at a point of so binary. It's really a heads or tails sort of thing. And do you really want to risk your money on that? That's really the question. Let's go ahead and answer some questions. Kylie says, good evening. Good evening, Carlos. Thank you. Good evening, Kylie. William says, just wanted to say thanks for all these videos, boss. You're welcome. I'm glad to do it. Anton says, Square earnings tomorrow, will it go down the same way as PayPal? I believe Square will go down regardless of what kind of report they have. Macy's had a stellar report yesterday, and it's down another 5% today. It was a pop and drop. Unless it's different. Even Home Depot had a great quarter, and that thing continued to fall. it's not a fundamentally based market in terms of did a company do well? Because there's a lot of companies that did well. Apple had a great quarter, the best quarter they've ever had almost, I believe. Google, great quarter. It doesn't matter because we've commoditized stocks, guys. Everything's commoditized where everything is being sold. Now, you're starting to get to the point, if you look to the bottom left of what's gained and what hasn't, Amazon being sold off, NVIDIA being sold off, AMD being sold off. Let's see another one here. Apple being sold off. Home Depot being sold off. Home Depot has been doing great long term as well. All these names are being sold off because a lot of traders or a lot of investors are just either panicking or they're getting margin called, and you just have to get rid of their shares. Does that mean that Home Depot isn't good as it used to be in December? No, it just means that the stock price and the demand is turning to the point where I need to raise cash because I don't know what's going to happen in the future. That's all. Does that mean that you need to sell anything? That's really up to you. If you feel better, you sleep better at night by just selling some stock, raising some cash, that's completely fine. You don't need to explain to anyone the decisions you make with your money. Never have to. But again, if you do not need the money, it's pointless. You don't need to sell anything unless you are afraid. If you're afraid and losing sleep, get rid of it. Until then, nothing has really changed. Let's see here. Terry says, hey, Gar, when playing options, what are your thoughts on the 9 EMA and the 21 EMA? I'm not against using those indicators. Everyone has different ones. People use RSIs, people use moving averages, people use Fibonacci levels. At the end of the day, it's what works for you. I like the moving averages. I like the 200-day. I like the 100-day. I like the 50-day. That works for me as a trader, me as an investor. Does it matter here when you're looking at long-term, a fall long-term? You can see these kind of price action movements. No, technicals are kind of thrown out the window. Hell, fundamentals are thrown out the window. So again, you're really just kind of scalping short-term. How's BABA looking for tomorrow morning's earnings? We have to see. I mean, BABA, in terms of the stock itself, you can see it may just break 108.70, and we're going to get to the point on a 3-year chart. We're at 3-year support, and then we're going to get to a 20-year level where we're near that support as well. So it's been absolutely brutal for BABA and brutal for a lot of names. Look at Lemonade. How about this one? Lemonade at the peak, $188.30. Now it's trading at $19.74. A lot of names got chopped down, a lot of them. And the question you have to ask yourself is, do you still believe in these companies long-term for their growth, regardless of their short-term? Think of it this way. Your son or your daughter had a bad report card. Does that mean they'll never get into college? Does that mean that they're dumb? Does that mean they need to be in remedial courses? No, maybe they'll turn it around. At the end of the day, it just depends on what you see the future for them. Do you think your child will still learn and grow? Or do you think that their third grade report card of having a C, D's, and F's, that's it, it's over? Forget it. The kid's not going to amount to anything. Of course not. Now, I don't own Lemonade, obviously. I don't own that stock. Look at Skills, another name, from 46 down to $2.68. And then Clove reported earnings today, and they're trading at $2.52. They're as high as $28.85. I'm glad I got rid of that. I sold it right around 22, 21 with Investment Club. I'm glad I got out of that. A lot of the high beta names, guys, are getting chopped down. A lot of liquidity is being sucked out because easy money policies are not in the future with raising rates. We haven't even raised rates once yet. People are preparing for literally the sky is falling. Let's see here. Carlos, is it a good time to add some long-term stock positions? John asked. I say no, not as of yet. Do not try to catch a falling knife. Wait for things to clear out. I'm willing to kind of lose 5 to 10% of a bounce just to confirm. I'd rather not try to time it. Do you see a bigger technique breakdown on SPY? Let's see it. On SPY, let's go and bring up the daily on the hourly. Yep, and you could see it here. Really, the next level down would be right around 416.09. Again, if we get a continuation down. But just like I said with binary, being at binary is that it could bounce tomorrow too. Again, we don't know what can happen. If we're just doing pure technicals, yes, 416. But if we were talking pure technicals, we would have bounced off 430, and yet we didn't. So again, it goes both ways. Should we expect a short squeeze when recovery comes? Yes. That would be the first sign where we start getting some bounces over time. The best analog I can give you is from COVID. We went from as high as 337 down to 218. and we had some ugly levels down. You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight weeks. We've had 3 straight weeks so far. We have had a 3-week losing streak so far in SPY. 2 more weeks will get us to mid-March. Maybe that's where we bounce. Now the question is, when does that happen? Will that happen at 338? Will that happen to 400? That's really the question. Look at these volume spikes when we did bounce. That's going to be your first tell. Is the volume coming in? Look at the volume so far these past three weekly drops. Not much in comparison to COVID. And then we recovered. Guys, COVID was worse than where we are today. That's a fact. That was pure panic. Is this a panic? Well, we're in correction territory. We're near bear market territory for the NASDAQ. Could be a complete washout, but we're not going to go to zero. At the end of the day, you just have to wait it out, guys. What do you think about Kathy selling Palantir? She says she was a stock to hold for many years. Do you think she'll step down or get voted off position? I think with Kathy Wood, again, I think I said this a couple of days ago. I love what she does, but she shouldn't be managing public money. She should be doing it herself. If she was a family office, it takes away the spotlight on her and every decision she makes. She sold Palantir, in my opinion, to raise cash. She had to. She had to raise cash, and she's probably in a point of liquidity crunch where she's just running out of capital to buy more or to even manage her fund. I'm pretty sure she has liquidity requirements to trade. Who knows with her broker? That's a whole different discussion. But yeah, she's feeling it. And I like Palantir long term. Luckily, I'm not a publicly traded company. I'm not a publicly traded fund. So I don't have to worry about that sort of thing. But she does. Could she get voted off? Absolutely. Who knows what's going to happen with her? I like Palantir long term. I'm willing to hold it. But again, I don't have thousands of millions of investors in a fund that I have. I don't have a fund called G.A.R K or something like that. Good entry points for NVIDIA, Nike, Netflix, and Tesla. Let's see it here. Kathy sold Palantir and bought Roku. Well, Roku was up yesterday. It's almost like she's chasing gains as they go, and Roku's down another 3% today. DraftKings is up today. Space was up today. Penn was up today. XOP was up today. XOM was up today. Snapchat was up today. For NVIDIA, entry points are going to be very difficult, guys. Why do I say that? Because we don't know when the selling is subsiding. If we go by the analog of, let's say, Qs, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight weeks to the downside. The last time we had 5 straight down weeks is since COVID. Right now, we're at a 3-week level. 2 more weeks, I would say, is probably the last of it. Maybe to 300, maybe to 317. So I would just wait. I know you get that feeling of, I want to do something. I want to click the mouse. Just hold on a little bit before you start buying anything, because the last thing I want you guys to do is to buy something heavy and then you get another leg down, which will just make you want to throw your monitor out the window. Totally not the right form to ask for this. What are your thoughts on TrendSpider? I keep getting ads from on Instagram. TrendSpider is great. I actually have, we've spoke back and forth on DMs. We've shared each other's stuff. I can't speak on their company in terms of what they do because I don't know. But I mean, they have some really good stuff. But again, with technicals now, I mean, technical patterns are kind of out the window when you're getting a complete washout. Free version of TradingView or TD Ameritrade is good enough. Yeah, I use TD Ameritrade. This is free. So that works for me. I'm really good at catching falling knives. Well, Thomas, you're a better man than me. That's for sure. Let's take a look at Netflix. Netflix, again, 340.89 is my level. That's what I'm waiting for. We may just get there. NVIDIA, I'm still holding. We may get to around 180, maybe. Again, what I'm looking for here is those 5-week candles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles in weeklies, and you can see we're at the third. We may have about 2 or 3 weeks more of pain, and then things will come around. Now, could it be worse? Sure it can. It could be worse. But then you're sitting here and telling me we're going to be at a worse losing streak than the throes of COVID, literally an economic stoppage, literally an economic lockdown. Pretty crazy if we think that's going to happen. Could it happen? Well, shoot, a meteorite could hit us tomorrow and then all your stocks are meaningless. But at the end of the day, all we can go is based on what we've seen before. I think maybe we have 2 or 3 more weeks of pain, and then mid-March things get a little better, and then we'll probably look back at this and be like, shit, remember that? How bad it was back then? And we'll move forward. So you listen, you can call me an optimist, you can call it for what you want, but I'm surrounded by negativity on Twitter and the news. You would think the world's ending. I've seen it so many times, and it's never as bad as it looks, and it's never as good as it seems. That's why I kind of live by. You kind of have a balance on things. And guys, QQQ is not going to go to zero. SPY is not going to go to zero. Are you going to be in through some pain? Yes. Are you going to get through it? Yes. Just like anything else, guys. This is the stuff you have to go through if you watch the markets on a daily basis. Name of the game. COVID brought more people into the stock market. I think we see longer swings because of it. Maybe this could be a point where a whole generation of investors, just like in the dot-com bubble bursting, people will get disenfranchised with the stock market. But at the end of the day, guys, retail doesn't really hold up the market that much as you think. It's, people's Robinhood and people on Reddit, they don't hold up the stock market. Most of it's institutions and ETFs, guys. Key headlines may trigger reversals. Hey, all it takes is one peace deal. All it takes is one pullout Russia from Ukraine. Could that happen? Sure. All it takes is the Fed saying, we're not raising rates until everything stabilizes. What then? That's so difficult to predict. It's hard. And I don't want it to be a coin flip. That's not analysis. Coin flip is not an analysis. That's just chance and luck. And we just have to make sure that we're prepared for anything. So we're hoping for the best, preparing for the worst. How do you prepare for the worst? Sit on your hands, hold on to some cash, wait. And how do you hope for the best? Well, you look for patterns where, there's some names that you may want to start picking at. When I say picking at, maybe little by little nibbles where you buy a couple of shares here and there, you spread out your buys. Let's say you wanted to put $10,000 in the market and you say, I want to buy $10,000 worth of SPY-G. Okay, break it down. Do 2,500 in 1 week, wait a couple weeks, do another 2,500, wait a couple weeks, do another 2,500, wait a couple weeks, do another 2,500, dollar cost average. And that's really how you should do it. Again, spread your risk a little more down the line and things will be okay. But, listen, the saying goes, the night is always darkest for the dawn. I got that from Dark Knight, and it's so true. At the end of the day, I don't think the U.S. economy is in a bad spot at all. If anything, we may have been overheating, but an economic slowdown or a recession is kind of out of the cards. I don't think that's going to happen. But are we getting a bear market? Oh, we're getting closer on the NASDAQ. Are we getting close to a bear market in S&P? No, we're only down about 12, 13%. Peak to trough, it's 20% for a bear market. What do you think of the U.S. economy, inflation, and dollar in general? Will it tremble long term? It will stabilize long term. Yes, inflation with higher rates, that's kind of the cure. Asset prices going down, the stock market going down, kind of helps inflation as well. So that's one way to do it. Again, yields being up is another thing. There was a 5-year auction today on bonds that wasn't that great today. The demand was there, but again, rates were higher. So it's just another add-on. You're pretty much adding to that cake of bad news. It's not all Russia. It's not all inflation. It's not all price action. It's not all stretch valuations. It's a mixture of things. It's a cocktail of things where it's just adding fear and uncertainty. Russia was just literally the poison pill on top of it where you really don't know what the hell's going to happen. And that's how we just have to move forward and play in it. Every day is different. We just have to go step by step and go from there. And, this is not going to last forever. It never does, guys. That's really the point. Well, I'll go and leave it there, guys. Have a great rest of your day. I was just finishing up watching some soccer. Manchester United and Atletico Madrid actually tied 1-1, thank God. And let's see what happens moving forward with Manchester United. They kill me. But I'm going to keep an eye on futures tonight. I'll keep you guys up to date on Twitter, as always, at G.A.R Capital for all the news and commentary as we move forward. Have a great rest of your afternoon and evening. We'll catch you guys later tomorrow for the morning note. Cheers, guys.